What's up, guys? Matt from MD Aquatics. I wanted to finally take out some time to talk about the build on this new tank I have going on. In the past couple weeks, I've been working on a build for a Pico tank in my office. It built a eShop's desk mate, and that took a little while, so this project got put on the back burner. I've been meaning to get to it for a while, but just wanted to get that other project out of the way before I started on this one in my home. But while I was working on the eShops, I seeded this tank without fully setting it up with rock and stuff. So all in all, everything's been in this tank other than the livestock for about 2 months now. Um, and while that was sitting there, just building up bacteria, and I was feeding it with microbacter, I worked on the eShops tank, and that's all set up, and I'll do a video for that too. I wanted to just do this video specifically for this tank because a lot of videos online, they've been so helpful to me through the years with my builds, whether it be equipment or scape ideas or just learning little tricks for each individual tank that I've worked on. So hopefully somebody will get a benefit from this. But this is the Innovative Marine Nuvo Fusion 20. It's really perfect for my space. Where I wanted to put this tank, I didn't have a ton of room, so I set up like some pieces of cardboard to build a footprint of what I thought I could take, and then I shopped based off of that on tank sizes, and it came down to a couple things. There was a Fiji cube that I was considering, but ultimately the price is what sold me on this. Especially since it comes as a kit. I think right now it's going for like 400 bucks. It's been out for a few years, but I've always liked Innovative Marine products. This is the first tank I've had from them, but I've had some other stuff from them throughout the years. So where this tank all started from is the cabinet. I knew what space I had, as I said before. So I started with the cabinet, and in the past my cabinets have all been pretty sleek, either the ones I built myself or just purchased as a kit. But one of the beefs I've always had is the lack of storage and also the lack of places to put things when I'm doing work on the tank, meaning the tanks sit flush on the stand, there's no lip around the tank, and I always wanted a small lip to be able to work with where I can just set little tools or food or whatever I was working on. So that's where this started, and I'll show you guys that before we move into what's in the tank. So what you're looking at here is the right side of the tank. This is where I plan on putting my dosing equipment. Right now there's just some cleaning towels and some extra filtration stuff in there, but that's where the dosing equipment's going to go. And here's the front where all the brains are. You can see I have a power bar there where I can switch everything off. There's a Kessel controller, Inkbird, Wavemaker. That's a ATO container, and then some organization for all my cleaning stuff and refractometer and my test kit supplies and everything like that. And then moving on over to the other side, it's just some extra storage for food and supplements and vitamins and anything that I might have like that. Right now in there is just some leftover stuff from a batch of food that I made. I do my own DIY food, so I bought a bunch of stuff to do that and have some stuff left over, so it's all sitting in there. But normally there's not much on this side other than food and some other stuff. You can see my test kits are all hiding down there. And that is the supplies on that side in a nutshell. My favorite part about this stand is the lip that I have going around the top, so I can set things, and also just the significant amount of storage that I was able to do by building this myself. One thing I'll say about the tank so far is that the scape has gone through a bunch of different variations. Luckily, I put all this rock in here, and I still have a little bit left over when I started seeding it when I was doing my office build. But originally I had the arch you see on the left, and the middle was kind of open. I had a pillar on the right, and I liked it. It was a lot more open. but ultimately it ended up not really being great for coral placement. I wanted to do a floating scape, but I just didn't have the space I wanted, so I settled on this, and this is where we end up now, and I really love what I have going on here so far, and it allows for good water flow, and I can access all sides of the tank, front, back, and both sides, um, which is really nice, and still has good structure. You know, if you use the rule of thirds, it works out pretty well, but I knew I had some livestock that I wanted open sand bed for, so that's ultimately what I ended up going with this particular scape for. Still, like I said, I still have a little bit of rock left over. Probably won't use it. Sometimes I'll use it to patch up little spots as I add coral, anything like that. I've also tend to use little rubble pieces to you know, keep fish from going where I don't want them or anything like that. I got a Talbot's damsel in there right now that is kind of being a pain in the neck, and I've had to use rubble rock to keep him out of spots I don't want him in. And here you're looking at the back of the tank for the filtration. That's an in-tank filtration cover that I put on there. I really like to have all my stuff hidden if I can. But the back is pretty simple. You'll see there my ATO, Prism ATO, and the return tube there. And right now that second chamber is empty, and the first chamber is the stock basket. I do have intake baskets on the way. And in that one right now I'm running just floss, Chemipure Blue, and Seachem Matrix. And there's the skimmer, the Bubble Magus Mini Q. This thing has been a pain in the neck so far, but I'll get to that later. But there's an intake filter floss holder. It's just holding floss, and there's another bag of Matrix underneath that. But the skimmer, I really want to love it. It's I love the design of it. I love how easily it fits in there. It's a super nice fit with a little room to spare. It's very easily adjustable. And I love how easy it is to take the cup on and off. The problem I've been having is it's been really difficult to get this thing tuned up, and I'm still fighting micro bubbles, and that thing has been sitting in this tank for way over a month now. But I'll get it all sorted out. I do have another skimmer option or two I can switch to, but I'm going to try and fight with this for a while and see if I can make it work, because it just fits in the space so well. And it is skimming. I'm just having a hard time getting it set the way I want it. While I'm talking about this here, I'll pop up some coral feeding videos from today. So back to the skimmer. So the other skimmer I've played with in this is the eShops Nano, which is now living in my desktop at work, but I like that skimmer a lot. It skims really good. But the problem with it on this tank is that it is an absolutely super tight fit. Like if it had 1 millimeter more width, you would not be able to get it in there. Also, the filter cup, or the skim cup on the top, is really hard to get on and off without knocking the skimmer out of adjustment. So ultimately I just brought that one back to work and put it in the desk mate, and it's doing a good job there. I have other options for skimmers. I've been thinking about putting the tunes in there, but I'm still doing some research because I hear weird things about the fit with that, and I've also been looking at an ice cap. But at the end of the day, I really want to try and make this Bubble Magus work. I'll try it out for, you know, another couple weeks and see if I can get it to get tuned up right and fight this micro bubble problem. It's definitely come from the skimmer. I've eliminated all the other sources and checked all the lines and the return pump, and with the ability through the control panel to switch everything on and off. I know for sure that that's where the problem's coming from. And, you know, as we all know, it's pretty typical to deal with that kind of thing. Let's see, what else we got in here. So for the light, right now, sitting on top is a Kessel A80 using the controller. The reason for that, I had the Kessel on my desk mate, and the plan was to run it on there, and then I was going to put a Hydra 32 on this tank. But ultimately I didn't like the Kessel on the desk mate because its mounting options aren't great, and it was getting in the way of the filter cup. So I just threw it on this tank, and because the tank has a light on it now with this Kessel, I haven't gotten around to switching it to a Hydra. And I may or may not do that. I may just keep the Kessel. I love the shimmer that these things put off, and you know, it's got more than enough power for the stuff that I'm growing in here. I don't have any plans as of now, not that that won't change, to put any SPS in there, so my lighting requirements are not that significant. So the verdict's still out on what I'm going to do with it, but I'm looking at some lighting options. But for now, this Kessel's going to be more than enough. So all the coral that you see in here right now is brand new. All went in yesterday. And I got all this off the Aqua SD live sale on Reef to Reef, and I went crazy on it. I bought so much stuff. From this little button skull you're looking at here was I kind of got lucky with this. I had ordered a piece that they called me about, and they couldn't end up finding it, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to switch it to or just get a refund or whatever. And they had mentioned they had some nice button scullies around, so I told them to go ahead and switch that on. I'm happy I got that piece. I really like it. And this trachea also is just awesome. The price I got it for is ridiculous, and I've actually never had one before, and I don't know why. This thing is awesome. It's so colorful. It's a really good size, especially for the price I got. You guys have to check out those live sales if you haven't. Other than that, I knew with this tank, I kind of wanted to separate it into thirds as far as corals go. Mainly, I wanted to do some Euphilia on the left side. Was undecided between, you know, torches or hammers or frog spawns or whatever. Ultimately, I decided to go with hammers. And then the middle was going to be Ghanies, and the right, and maybe some mushrooms. And the right side was going to be like Zoas and maybe another softie or two. So this all led me to switch the scape the way I have it now. And I wanted to leave the front of the sand bed open because I really wanted to do a tank that was kind of centered around acans. I've never really messed with them that much, and I've always wanted to. So that's kind of the showpiece in the front and center of this tank is going to be the acan garden that I'm putting together. Still haven't quite figured out how I'm going to scape that part of it, but it's a work in progress. This is the far right side where I popped a couple Zoas. These are some purple people eaters I got from my LFS. I actually fragged this one after I bought it. It had a lot of heads on it, but these things eat like crazy too. But so the goal is to kind of fill up the right side of this arch with Zoas. Hopefully over time they can kind of take over. There's also a super nice button scully that's all encrusted with Zoas that I'm a little upset I didn't get video of it, but that thing is awesome, and it was opening up pretty good this morning when I checked on it, and that'll kind of be the showpiece part of the right side of the tank here. But that's kind of it. The middle is, actually going to the middle, this is where all the Ghanies live. I got really lucky during this Aqua SD live sale, and I won an Ultra Ghani pack. And it's kind of a surprise what you're going to get. You don't really know what you're going to get. But I was pleasantly surprised when the package showed up. There were, let me think, 1, 2, 3, 4 Ultra Ghanies in there. And 2 of them are really remarkable, and the other ones are pretty cool as well. So those are going to be in the center, and they're already feeding really well. As you'll see here in a second, there's one of them right there, the ultra pink, and hopefully they'll take over the middle and kind of give the tank some dimension by separating it from both sides there. And this part of the tank gets a lot of movement, and I've always had success with Ghanies with pretty good flow. What else we got going on in here for now? That's basically it. As you can see here, I'm feeding AB+. I tend to feed my smaller corals and a lot of softies with this AB+. The only thing in that kind of category that I don't feed AB+ are my Zoas. They tend to, like all the ones I've had anyways, are real hungry, and they eat whatever I give them. I tend to feed a homemade mix. That's what you're looking at here now in time lapse. It's a huge variety of foods that I blend all together and purify, and then add myces to at the end, and everything I feed it to tends to go pretty wild for it. But that's about it in a nutshell, guys. If you got any questions or anything, feel free to hit me up. Otherwise, we will see you on the next video. Take it easy.